Good morning, Silas here again. I'm going to take you along with me today. I've got to run some errands this morning, and then we're going to go out and probably crush some cars with the loader. Not going to have the crusher out yet today, and then hopefully I'm going to haul some more stuff out of that farm out by Nickerson. The first thing I have to do is load this bicycle up. I want to take it with me. This is the one I put in my last vlog that I bought at that auction. I sold it on Facebook, or I assume it's sold. The guy says he'll be here. We'll see if he shows up. He seems pretty legit. But I've got to load that up in my truck, and this is what I've done forever. That's actually how I started in my entrepreneurship, was buying and selling bicycles. And so this is the first thing I ever did as far as business is concerned for myself, was buying bicycles. And I used to fix them up and then I'd sell them again. And so this is old hat to me. I paid $320 for it, and he's giving me $550 for it. So nice quick profit. I like to do that as much as possible. It was actually in this room where I started at. It was in here. Now this room was a lot more organized back then. All this junk wasn't stacked up in here. It's kind of become a storage place now. But I had a stand right here inside this door. And this is where I would rebuild my bicycles. This is a fairly busy street. I'd line them up out here and advertise them for sale. And I did that for a couple years. I graduated in 2008, and I started probably, it would be that winter or that following spring. So it would have been early 2009 that I started doing that. And it was kind of perfect timing because that was right about the time of the recession, and everybody was looking for a cheap bike to ride. And so it worked out really good. I did it for a while. It was probably about a year and a half that I did it a lot. And it was going pretty good. I'd get bicycles out of the junk or pick them up at garage sales, do a tune-up on them. Sometimes I had to replace a few parts, but I usually had junk bikes laying around that had the good parts I needed. And so it worked out really good for a long time. Here's a couple cool ones. But anyway, I did that for a long time, rebuilding bicycles, until all of a sudden, at one point, you could buy a brand new tire out at Walmart for about $7. Now, it was just a cheap tire, but I was selling cheap bikes, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But then all of a sudden, almost overnight, the prices went from about $7 a tire to about $20 a tire. And it was just unreal. So at this point, if I had to buy two new tires for a bicycle, it was $40 I was putting in a bike that I was selling for $50. And so even if I got the bike for free and didn't have to do any work to it except for change the tires, I wasn't really making much money. And on top of that, it would have been about mid to late 2010, Walmart came out with their $99 bicycles. But now all of a sudden you could go out and you could buy a brand new shiny bicycle for $100. So why would you buy an older one with scratches on it for 50 or 60? And so that kind of ultimately killed the market for me. But I adapted, and I kind of shifted out of selling big stuff like that and started going more into selling car parts. And I did eBay for a long time. I started on eBay, selling on eBay, as far as that goes, in 2000. Oh, it would have been about 2011, I believe. And I did that for a long time. I still do that to some extent, just not as much as I used to. I try to tell people all the time, I know sometimes financially things get hard, but if you've got a willingness to try and a willingness to learn, there are opportunities out there. But enough about all that. I want to go out, take this bicycle with me, and we're going to get started for the day. Sometime when I have my flashlight, I'll take you guys for a tour through a bunch of my eBay stuff that I haven't even looked at in a couple of years now. And I think that'll be a pretty interesting video. It's a beautiful morning out here on the farm again. It's getting pretty cleaned up out here. We're starting to run out of cars. I filled this yesterday. It's not full yet. I'll finish filling it either today or tomorrow. Got quite a bit of junk in there. But got most of these out of here. I got an old Corvair there, a 52 or 53 Ford back there, and a 51 Ford back in there, that two-door. And then up here, I've just got this old Regal, I think it is. And that's all that's left up here as far as cars go. And then there's just bunches of engines and iron and stuff all through these trees yet. But we're getting it pretty good. I don't have any high-tech way of getting these cars out. I just make a path to them, drive in, pick up one end of them, and then drag them out. If they cooperate, sometimes you got to wiggle them back and forth to get them started. There we go. Trees don't want to let go. that we claimed this car. We don't want to let it go. Then the loader gets in a bind, backing up, so I got to set the car back down and readjust my grip on it. There we go, we got it out. I'll take it out and set it on the trailer. Never know what you'll find in the junk. Found this piece here, it looks like an old pot holder for a plant. It's pretty neat. Got it loaded up. This is a pretty cool car. It's pretty rusty. It's got rust in the quarter panels, the trunk, the roof, but it's a sunroof car. Let's see if I can get this door open. Had all white interior in it, white exterior. Imagine it was a pretty sharp car back when it was parked. Uh-oh, I'll have to work on that in a minute. But what's really cool about it, and this is what I didn't notice before, this is a 455 car. So that's pretty cool. Neat old car. It might be savable if somebody really wanted to put the work in, but it would be an excellent parts car. As much as I'd love to tinker with old cars all the time, this is what our main business is buying scrap like this and recycling it. And so that's what I have to do most of my focus on. Okay, I am attempting to dig out this Corvair back here in the trees. There was a whole bunch of iron stacked beside it and on top of it, so I had to climb out and do all that by hand. But I want to grab that out and then grab the car out. There was probably, I'd say, around 500 pounds or so. I stacked it all on that hood, a bunch of iron and chain and stuff like that. So it was quite a bit of weight there. Kind of a cool thing about these Corvairs is they're not really worth much money. There's a few parts on them to sell, but one of the best pieces is the bucket seats that are in these, because the bucket seats are basically the same as the bucket seats in the bigger cars. And so a lot of times somebody will have a bench seat in their other car and they can take the seats out of one of these and then boom, they have buckets. All right, I'll throw some straps on here and head back to town. Went ahead and threw this old cab on here. I'm still not entirely sure what it is. I don't think it's a Ford. Can't quite tell. But it's kind of neat. Somebody will probably want it for yard art, and if nobody does, I'll stick it back in the trees on my property. I bulldozed a path through all these trees and weeds to get back in here so I can get this car and this tractor out of here. Got to pick this stuff up. That's a pretty cool old wheel there. That might be worth something, so I'll hang on to that. See what else is down here. Put all these parts of this car inside the car. I should be able to hook onto it and drag it out of here and then grab that tractor next. I was putting all these parts and pieces to this old Ford inside it, and I noticed it's got the factory radio, factory clock. Pretty cool old car. And it doesn't look in too bad a shape. I mean, it does now. The interior is all ratted out, you know. But I bet when it was parked here, it was pretty clean. All the chrome's decent, the body's straight. It's not rusted out. All right, I got the case out of the trees. And I got the old Ford out of the trees too. There's one more Ford and one more tractor back there I'm going to try to get out yet before I leave. I made it back in here. Let's see if I can get this car out now. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to get it around this tree right here, but we'll figure something out. We're getting it. I think I can just spin it right around that tree. When you're backing up with one of these articulating loaders, if you turn to the left, the forks will swing to the right as you back up. There we go. She's out of there. 1952 to 54 Ford. I'm not entirely sure what year it is. I haven't looked at it super close, but it's in that year range somewhere. Now, believe it or not, there is a tractor back in there, a case, I believe it is, back in these trees. So we're gonna see if we can get it out of there. Take these tree branches out of the way. There she is. I got her up a little bit. This is a very heavy tractor. They must have some big old counterweights on the back of it, because this loader is not wanting to lift it very well. This loader will lift 6 tons. So I'm thinking this tractor is right about 6 tons. I got it. That took a ton of work. I was sinking back there about 1.5 feet. That was making it even harder. And this loader kept wanting to go sideways, because one tire was sinking and the other one wasn't. But I got it out of there. That thing is well over 6 tons, I bet. That's a monster of a tractor. Well, no wonder it was so heavy. It's got double wheel weights on it, and they're big wheel weights. It's a big tractor to start with, but with those on there, and there may even be one on the inside of the wheel as well. Can't tell. No, there's not on the inside, but oh yeah, actually, yeah, looks like there is. Different style. So yeah, that's why it's so heavy. Big old tractor. And here's what's left of this old girl. She's pretty rough. Looks like she caught a tree limb to the roof at some point. But it's got a pretty cool wall hanger nose on it, so we'll save that. And I'm sure it's got other odds and end parts. Another radio and clock in this one as well. Getting that tractor out of here, I kind of sunk a little bit. Kind of tore the ground up. It was soft to start with. Nobody's driven on this ground in a lot of years, but then it was kind of muddy too. So it's kind of hard to see, but you can see there a little bit. I made some pretty good ruts. That's part of why I had such a hard time getting that tractor out of here, because it was all the way back up in there. But I got it out. There's one more tractor over there, but he decided to keep it. There's a bunch of iron on the other side of these trees, a bunch of iron through here, but not much good stuff. There's a few good things I'll keep. I'm going to load this last car up and get it on back to the yard, and I'm probably going to go ahead and shut down for the day. I've got to go pick up a load of converters, and then it'll be about quitting time. But I'll be back at it again tomorrow, and maybe I'll make another vlog then. Maybe I won't. Just kind of see how things go and how the weather cooperates. So that's all for this one. Remember, get out there and find an adventure.